Hello adventurers, this is Miss Megan with Warrensburg Adventure Club, and I'm back again with another crochet lesson. So last time we learned how to double crochet, and this time I'll be teaching you how to make these cute little round coasters. I will be teaching you how to do this with a single crochet stitch as well as a double crochet stitch. So as well as showing you how to make these round coasters, I'm going to show you how you change colors in the round to give you more options. Of course, you will need your crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and yarn. And you can use two colors if you think you're ready for that stuff. And I would also highly recommend a yarn needle. This is a metal one, but they do also come in plastic. It'll just make it easier when we're tucking in our ends to make our work really clean and neat. So now I'm going to switch to my other view and show you how to make these round coasters. The first step, as always, is to make a slip knot and put it on your hook. After that, you'll want to make 3 chain stitches. We'll be starting with a single crochet round. You'll be working your stitches into the chain closest to your slip knot. Insert your hook into the space and make your first single stitch. In total, you will be making 5 single crochet stitches into the same space. Now you're ready to close your circle and move on to the next row. 2 of the chain stitches you made will be taking the place of a single stitch, so you will technically have 6 stitches on your first round. To close your circle, you'll want to insert your hook into the top chain of those 2 chains that are pretending to be a single stitch. You'll notice these chains are vertical instead of horizontal like the other stitches. Insert your hook, pull your yarn through your stitch, and then without yarning over, pull it through the loop on your hook. What you've just done is called a slip stitch. As you can see, it now definitely looks like you have 6 stitches on your circle. At the beginning of this next row, chain 2. This will also take the place of a single stitch, just like the foundation chain did. In this row, we'll be doing something called increasing. To do this, you'll be putting 2 stitches instead of 1 into each of the 6 stitches around your circle. The first one can be a little tricky, but you'll place your stitch in the same place your chain is coming from. Remember, this is technically the second stitch, as the 2 chain stitches are taking the place of a single crochet. For the next stitch, single crochet like normal, then place another single crochet into the same place, like this. If you look closely, you can see that the 2 stitches are coming out of the same hole, making sort of a fan shape. Again, this is called increasing. Now you'll put 2 single stitches into all the other stitches, except for the last one. When you're done, make sure to count your stitches and include the 2 chains as 1 single stitch. When you come to the last stitch, you'll be slip stitching into the top chain just like we did before. You can see the normal stitch here and the chain here. After you slip stitch, you will chain 2 to start the next row. Instead of putting 2 stitches into each stitch this time, we're going to alternate between 1 stitch and 2 stitches. Your chain will be the first stitch, then we'll go into the next stitch and increase by putting 2 stitches in the same hole. Now we do 1 stitch into the next stitch, and now we'll do 2 stitches into this stitch. I like to think about increases as 2s and regular stitches as 1s. So for this row, the pattern would be 1, 2, 1, 2. At the end of this row, make sure to count your stitches. When including the chain 2 at the beginning of your row, you should have 18 stitches. You should also end on an increase stitch. Slip stitch into the top of your chain, chain 2, and you'll be ready for the next row. After the chain, go ahead and put another stitch in the same place. We'll start with an increase this time. Then, do 2 regular stitches. Then, increase again, putting 2 stitches in the same hole. We switched it up by increasing first, but the pattern for this row is 1, 1, 2, or technically 2, 1, 1. Each row will add another regular stitch in between the increase stitches. Now the reason we started this row with an increase instead was not just to confuse you. your circle will be much more round this way. If you did 1, 1, 2 instead, you'd end up with more of a hexagon. At the end of this row, count your stitches. You should have 24. You should also end on a regular stitch this time. For the next row, we'll do 3 regular stitches followed by an increase stitch. Think 1, 1, 1, 2. Sometimes I also count 1, 2, 3, 2. Whatever works for you and helps you remember where you're at. At the end of this row, you should have 30 stitches. For the next row, we'll start with an increase and then do our 4 regular stitches. So the pattern for this row is 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. Do this all the way around and count your stitches. There should be 36. Before you start the next row, I want to show you how to change colors. Insert your hook like normal, but instead of pulling your yarn through, grab your second color, leave a bit of a tail, and pull that yarn through instead. Chain with the new yarn and crochet like normal. It's that easy. Now I'll go back to our coaster and show you the last row of single stitches. For this row, we'll be doing 5 regular stitches between each increase stitch. We'll start with the regular stitches this time, so think 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. At the end of this row, instead of chaining 2, we'll chain 1. Now we're going to slip stitch around our circle to finish it off. To slip stitch, insert your hook, pull your yarn through the stitch, and instead of yarning over, just pull through the loop on your hook as well. Slip stitching doesn't add any height to your work, but instead sort of outlines it. Again, insert your hook, pull through the stitch, then pull through the loop on your hook. You'll do this all the way around. After you've done this, it's time to cut off and tuck in your end. Make sure to leave yourself a decent sized tail to work with. Pull the yarn all the way through. Taking your hook or yarn needle, pull the yarn through the first stitch in your row, going back to front. After that, pull the yarn back through the middle of your last stitch. Essentially, you're creating a false stitch here to hide your end. Weave your end in just like I showed you in previous videos. First going one way, then going backwards, so that it doesn't pull itself out. Now you know how to make a single crochet stitch coaster. Next, we'll make a double crochet coaster. Don't worry, this next one doesn't require nearly as many rows. Like before, we're starting off with a slip knot, but instead of chaining 3, we will chain 4. Yarn over, insert your hook in the chain closest to your slip knot, and make a double crochet. We will make a total of 11 double crochets into the same spot. After you've counted your stitches, slip stitch into the top of the chain just like we did before, and chain 3 instead of 2. Double crochet stitches are taller, so they require an additional chain when going up to the next row. For this first row, we will be increasing all the way around the circle, so you'll put 2 double crochet stitches into every stitch. At the end of the row, slip stitch into the top chain and chain 3. For the next row, we'll be alternating between regular stitches and increasing, so we'll be thinking 1, 2, 1, 2 again. So that's actually your last row. These double crochet coasters work up super fast compared to their single crochet counterparts. Just like you did before, cut off your yarn, leaving a decent sized tail, and pull all the way through. Fake your last stitch and weave in your end. Alright adventurers, I hope you enjoyed this activity, and now you can make these round coasters. Change colors, maybe use your Hogwarts houses, make them in sets. They're really fun and versatile, and they make really great gifts. So until next time, this has been Miss Megan with Warrensburg Adventure Club. Have a great day.